Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the broadcast here. We got our semifinal matchup, game number 2, Horde versus Slice and Dice coming at you. Again, I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Z-Rock here. Our Kiev Major European Open qualifier action continues, and Horde obviously up 1-0. Again, jumped into that one a little bit later on, but it looked like for the most part taking care of business there. Pretty dominating victory. And as expected, being that they are, of course, one of the favorite teams, but Slice and Dice has proven, in fact, the previous regionals once again, that, or the previous Open, that is, the Open qualifiers, that they beat Team Horde, actually, before and knocked them out. So it'll be fun to see how they respond here in game number 2. But on the other side as well, I know people are interested. Bean is up 1-0 as well over their opponents, BHLG. And we could have a possible, not to really jinx anything, but a Horde versus Bean Boys finals. Sounds
Yeah,
fun.
I hyped it up a little bit in chat. It is looking potentially to be that way. Bean handled game 1 pretty surgically. I mean, they won the game without losing one of their T1s. So definitely a good position for them. And going into this draft here, it'll be the first draft we get to watch all the way through. We see the Lone Druid ban, very common. The Coddle ban definitely coming up. But the one thing I'm finding interesting here, the Slardar Lifestealer combo is open. If Slice and Dice doesn't block pick it here, which the Sand King is a good pairing if they do want to pick up the Lifestealer, then Horde's going to get their hands on potentially one of the most broken openings in Dota right now.
Yeah, Slaughter alone is obviously one of the more higher ban potential heroes initially. So the fact that they're able to get him already, they're feeling pretty good. And then you throw that Lifestealer on top. Now, they did have Slaughter last game as well, obviously, and so a Slice and Dice clearly not as worried about such hero, and rather banning the Coddle here, as mentioned. Coddle, another one that's kind of come on strong on the scene lately, and Ake no doubt plays a great Coddle. If you let him get his hands on that one. So they're thinking about it. I'm sure that possible Lifestealer steal is something that's going through their mind, but...
Yeah, that's absolutely the debate going on right now. And with the amount of time they're burning on this, I'm sure they're talking about it as a team. You have to decide if you can use it effectively enough to merit picking it up. And they end up going with the Juggernaut instead. So I would expect the Lifestealer to be a snap pick here from Horde unless they really just don't want to run that hero. Maybe they feel like it's a little bit weaker in the way they like to play the game, or that Weaver is just a stronger pairing for them with the Slardar, because we did see that work out extremely well last game. The amp damage coupled with the bugs really just paying off. They shredded through a Timbersaw with reactive armor stacks.
Yeah. That was impressive. That later on in the fight that took place, Timbersaw just melted. Despite even having Blade Mail, the Lotus Orb, and as you said, the reactive armor, is like 4 shots. He's like at 10% life from that Weaver. So they are thinking about it. So clearly not as snap decision as you would expect. But eventually they come to the conclusion, yeah, it's kind of hard to pass up this option right here. And it's not like you can draft something on the other side that's like, oh, well, we're setting up to get countered now by a pick right here. So,
well, and the way they use that time, you get a flat amount of time for every pick and every ban, and then you dig into your reserve time. They didn't burn hardly any reserve on that, only about 10 seconds. Yeah. So they could have been talking about what they want to do later in the draft, just making sure they utilize the time that they're given every pick to have some time to discuss and really plan it going forward.
Reserve time.
All right, so bans to follow now. OD coming out from Slice and Dice, and we're going to figure out who they want to take out away from S&D. Was Slice and Dice? I'm trying to think. There was a team. I think they're the team that actually ran a bit of Spirit Breaker, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Meet Your Bob. That's right. Yeah, he plays a bit of Spirit Breaker. We saw it in the previous qualifier, especially.
Yeah, it was Spirit Breaker versus Earth Spirit, right? They were both trying to roam, and Spirit Breaker just kind of crushed that whole game.
I think so, yeah. I know he's also played a bit of Pudge for that matter, and sure enough, Horde banning the Pudge there, actually.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a Magnus ban come out here if you're Horde. Just don't really want to give them that full-on synergy with the Sand King Jug plus Mag. It's a pretty strong combo. Slice and Dice made an interesting choice, though, going for Sand King over Centaur. Centaur's seen a lot of play as kind of the budget Slardar, the secondary version of him. And to watch that slip all the way through is a bit interesting.
Now, Sand King potential to be a 4 position isn't out of the question. The fact that he's still available here in that Centaur is something that if you're Slice and Dice, I would think that that's kind of a tempting option still, but
5 seconds remaining.
Definitely, it's not as likely now as you're pointing out. Yeah, maybe expecting more of the offlane stanking, if anything,
Reserve time.
coming out. But Horde could actually, it'd be interesting if Horde also picks up on that. I guess Horde potentially could do that too with Slaughter running a 4 position and
Radiant
center if they really
team
feel
pick.
necessary. But Wisp coming out for a slice and
boy.
dice. All right.
So we did see some amazing Wisp play yesterday. We'll have to see if Slice and Dice can manage the hero in the same way. We saw one really great Wisp game and one really bad Wisp game
10
yesterday.
seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
So
Come with me for Pro Dota. Yeah, when they ended up
5
qualifying, he
seconds
actually played a
remaining.
fantastic Wisp. A lot of fun to watch here recently. So
and an aggressive Wisp. He was running at other the enemy with that Wisp, and it was really paying off. Paired with the Storm Spirit in the middle lane, they turned a 2v4 into 3 kills for them. I mean, it was some great play out of them. I love the Disruptor pickup here off of Horde. Glimpse is amazing to set up awkward positions where the enemy's not in good shape and Slardar can come in with that life stealer and you just blow somebody up that you pulled out of position with Glimpse. So really like that pickup. I think this support's very strong
5
if you have the
seconds remaining.
damage to go with it when you glimpse somebody. And Horde definitely should at this point.
Reserve time.
I think it's also fun against the idea of a Wisp too.
I was
with
just
that
gonna say that,
relocate.
yeah.
Where you relocate somebody. You ain't
There's
going for a
2
gank,
ways to
too.
go about that. You can either relocate the Wisp if you think you can kill whoever you brought in. Wisp goes away, the tether breaks, and that person's just stranded. Or the alternative is you glimpse back the person that he brought with him, the scary person, and then you just burn down the Wisp because it's a Wisp. So you have options there, and I really like that out of them. If you want to draft a little harder against the Wisp still, now that you've seen it, Witch Doctor is a fantastic support against Wisps as well, because when the relocate comes in, they're right next to each other. If you cask that, you can get a good cast
10
bounce into a
seconds
2-man
remaining.
Maledict, and from there you can just kill both of them. So may see that coming out, and a Necrophos,
Ooh, spooky.
the bane of pubs everywhere.
I know there's been a couple of Necro in a couple of games that I've been watching on the side. I think in the NA region even, but we haven't casted one yet throughout all these European qualifiers. Casted a lot of Dota 2 over these last now 4 days, and I've not seen a Necro in any of the games
5
that I've actually
seconds
casted.
remaining.
But as you said, he's the bane of pubs everywhere, but not necessarily the competitive scene.
Reserve time.
Yeah, it's one of those feast or famine heroes. If he gets 1 or 2 major kills, he gets so much sadist regen that you really can't bring him down in a fight. But if he's not the one getting the kills, it's not doing nearly as much. It was potentially going to be a borderline broken hero until they changed that Aghanims. It used to stop buybacks from coming out, which was huge.
Yeah. That would, if he still had that, no, that would be pretty absurd actually. But yeah, instead now it's just the duration increase without an axe for that matter, but up to 30 seconds increase the respawn time once he has maxed out. I mean, the hero definitely is good, and he has his merits. The Ghost Shroud abilities talking about. I mean, against a Slaughter life stealer, that no doubt could potentially be pretty powerful, and hoping to not only save himself but set up some turn kills, which definitely he is great at. But and the team is kind of coming together in the sense it's a lot of grouping up, right? It's a lot of we want to be all together and push down towers and do team fights here.
I'm just wondering where this IO is going to fit. Because you could put the IO Necrophos in like a dual off lane or a dual safe lane or something along those lines, and you try to just set up this unkillable Necro spamming out death pulses in lane and pushing people out. There's still the chance that they grab a different hero to pair with it a little better, maybe a Bristleback or a Storm Spirit or something of that nature. Really, the world's kind of their oyster, but I think they need one more hero to go with this Wisp.
On the other side, they go Timbersaw, and I find that a little curious, because again, they have the Slaughter as we talk about as an offlane option, but now it looks like Timbersaw potentially
10
could be their
seconds
offlane option
remaining.
instead with the Slaughter 4 position now.
It could be, I would imagine this is going to be
5
Timber mid.
seconds
Or
remaining.
mid even? Okay.
It's a very hard hero to kill, and I think they're assuming that it's going to be a Necro mid at this point. The
Radiant team
laning
back.
positions are very, very awkward for Slice and Dice right now. Like, it's hard to call out exactly where people are going to be, but Timber is flexible, as you said, so it lets them adapt to the 5th pick out of Slice and Dice.
You see them banning the Storm Spear right there, so yeah, they believe that they
10
may still
seconds
want a
remaining.
mid option. So, but yeah, definitely versatile. Can be is several lanes, of
5
course, that we've
seconds
even seen the
remaining.
short lane Timbersaw. I know Complexity with Moo has done that once or twice. So,
Reserve time.
they're gonna ban out Tiny themselves, and you know what? There goes that
Radiant
another combo
team
here that
pick.
could have paired well with the IO, as you were mentioning earlier.
Absolutely, a very good combo to it. We've seen some of the lesser combos kind of fall from favor. We used to see Wisp PA a lot in the mid lane just as a way to be hyper aggressive early on with PA. You
10
just blink strike
seconds
on someone,
remaining.
get the tether slow, and run them down. We even saw Wisp CK way
5
back in the day,
seconds remaining.
because Reality Rift puts you behind the other person, so then the tether instantly got the proc on it.
Reserve
But
time.
I don't know. I think Bristle's still a great option here for Slice and Dice that would kind of round out their draft nicely. And Horde could pretty much pick any hero at this point and make it work. They could pick a support, an offlane, a mid. It's kind of whatever they think is strong. I think they need a little more AoE control, another stun at the very least. And that definitely fits the bill for control.
Dire team
Yeah,
pick.
control stun. I mean, he's got just a lot of damage, so that's some carry potential. Kind of just a nice finish, really. Again, not being banned throughout all this, and they do go Invoker with their final pick. So Excalibur going to be on Invoker most likely. Most likely going to be a Timbersaw off lane, and then, yeah, the Slaughter in that 4 position, which maybe we have seen more of lately as well. So Ursa is that final pick, so there you go. There is a good Wisp partner once again coming out. But is that going to be the strong? I mean, again, as far as their lanes go, it's still it's up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to be the analyst here that can tell you what's going to happen, but in reality, this could be a Necro mid with an Ursa Wisp off lane. We've seen that ran a few times where Ursa Wisp is just running at their tri lane and killing people with Fury swipes. We could see an Ursa Wisp mid with an early Windlace on Ursa just trying to run down Invoker. There's so many options available here. It could even be a solo safe lane Ursa against the Timbersaw. Not a great matchup for the Ursa, but if he catches the Timber out and gets a couple Fury swipes, can rip right through him.
Mm-hmm.
So lots and lots of options available here for Slice and Dice.
Here we go, jumping into the game. That good old pause to kick things off here. Good old strat pause even. But yeah, so who's playing what? Can help us get a little bit better of an idea, I guess. 3-3, they're off laner. Yeah, of course, on the Timbersaw. On the other side, Karate Kid. Now, again, this is a team that actually has bounced around a little bit with who plays what. So I guess this isn't going to necessarily even answer any questions just yet with what they're doing. But
yeah, I actually did an interview with some people about the benefits of having people flexible in multiple lanes so that your picks aren't instantly spelled out when you just look at who's playing what. And that can really add a lot here to a team. It looks like the Ursa is posturing up to go mid.
Gets the early poor man shield.
This Necro offlane is going to have a bit of a hard time.
Why do you say that?
So you've got Glimpse to pull him into a weird position or kinetic field, and then Slaughter, stun, and open wounds. Even with Ghost Shroud making him immune to a lot of the damage Radiant can do, he's gonna be always at risk of dying if he's up too far, unless you're gonna bring the Wisp down to help him out. So Jafar's gonna have to be very careful not to give away an early lead to this Horde team. Because if Lifestealer gets to like Phase Boots Blightstone,
30 seconds
this game
to
could get
battle.
really bad really fast. The Necro couldn't go to the offlane anymore, and all of a sudden you're enabling a free farming Lifestealer, which you really don't want to see in a game like this.
Look at these rotations coming out from the Horde, by the way. Now, Pablo got a very early ward down here at the bottom lane area. He got that down, and obviously you're able to see some information with that. See Necro's heading bottom, so I don't know if they were expecting some kind of an aggressive lane, which definitely, again, could have been potential with the setup here. But it ends up being the Necro solo, so they are going to send 3-3 bottom actually on Timbersaw, and they're going to go aggressive themselves as a result. So
Necro versus Timber is not a bad lane for either person. The Timber has a little more kill potential at level 6, but I think they just honestly think the Slice and Dice lane's too weak. Like, support Sand King is notably very, very bad early on. He wants to jungle, have a little bit of a passive laning phase, and really get to a Blink Dagger at a reasonable timing. But if you're forcing him to tri-lane, his levels come so slow, his gold comes even slower, and you're throwing him away on the back foot versus like a Slaughter who, once he gets level 2 with Sprint and Crush, can do some things.
yeah. You got Wisp starting out in that jungle, using those spirits, of course, to farm. Top lane, though, it is a 3 versus 2 as a result of this, and yeah, both the Juggernaut and the Sand King going to be a little bit more vulnerable earlier on. But this middle matchup now, it is true 1 versus 1. Excalibur on that Invoker, Karate Kid on the Ursa. To figure Invoker, potentially has a decent time, but you see right here, Karate Kid going to go in with that Earth Shock and apply some Fury Swipes, so that's where it could get a little dangerous.
Yeah, this matchup's actually very hard for the Invoker without a rotation. Once Ursa gets on you, I'm assuming he's going to get boots very quickly, and then Orb of Venom or just straight phase boots. And once you catch him with that Earth Shock, the Invoker has no choice but to run or even Ghost Walk.
Well, we'll see. Keep an eye on the CS score in the middle lane. As bottom lane, again, it ends up being the Timbersaw versus the Necro. Top lane, yep, they're going to stun in on the Lifestealer. Your Bob is, that is, on the Sand King, but now he's going to be turned on with a Crush. Out comes a spin. There's Sunstrike going off as well. It's going to be dodged barely by the Sand King, actually, and Pablo. He will be more than fine, but oh, that was so close to a first blood.
Yeah, that was a fantastic juke from the Sand King.
And then meanwhile, middle lane, they will get the actual first blood coming out. Let's go ahead and take another glimpse at that real quickly. Okay, yeah, he just simply dove him. I mean, that's what you're talking about. He doesn't even have boots yet, and that was enough, actually.
Yeah, the matchup is totally suffer for the Invoker. He doesn't have an easy way to live, and he can't really kill the Ursa. You can't put a lot of pressure on anymore. They've nerfed so many of Invoker, especially X-Sword Invoker like this, his early game skills, that they don't really give you a lot of laning presence. You have to just farm and get levels, and an Ursa is not going to let you just sit and farm.
No. Going to continue to keep that pressure up. So you talk about those rotations. It looks like Sauter is making his way over and going to try to be a nuisance somewhat, but no, he's now heading back towards the top lane. You do have Wisp now being in the lane presence, has that bottle, is level 2 as well. So of course the Tether coming out, an aggressive spin on a Disruptor. The Spear's also doing a bit of damage. Ake will be fine. The wall is actually not going to trap in Juggernaut as he's able to run on through that kinetic field, that is. Gork, meanwhile, he takes a stun with a Burrow Strike. He's going back in. Not much life to work with, though. He popped the open wounds. There's that Sunstrike setup, and this one will connect and ultimately be a kill. On to Sand King as a result. Slaughter, he'll be fine. Walking on off. So yeah, it's almost like a 4 versus 3 because, again, of the Sunstrike presence.
Yeah, the Wisp was holding his Tether, trying to figure out which one of them was going to be in danger. He had 1 bottle charge left. If he'd gotten the Tether and bottle off on Sand King, the Sunstrike and auto do not kill there. But it could have just as easily been the Juggernaut that got hit by 2 autos in the Sunstrike there. So, trying to make a judgment call, and unfortunately held the skill a little too long, but Cancel needed that. Even just the assist helps a lot.
Oh, that's a dead Wisp. Never mind. He tethers away to the Juggernaut, speaking of that, but he still might be dead right here. Yeah, open wounds to help chase him down, and now Juggernaut throwing some auto attacks, but he has the Blade Fury if necessary to run away. So yeah, he dodges the Sunstrike this time around as IO, but of course doesn't matter. That's where Ake is going to be very difficult. Talking about the Disruptor matchup here. That glimpse and the kinetic field is going to be a powerful tool this game.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And they're getting early levels here too out of Horde. This is what you want out of an aggressive tri-lane. This Dire squad wants to get their levels and pulls and farm, and you're preventing them from doing that. So even if you come out a little less farm than you would in the safe lane, you're disrupting Slice and Dice's game plan so much.
As top lane, they're going in again maybe. I mean, Meet Your Bob, he's thinking about making a play, but we've kind of seen how it's worked out for the Horde just a little bit more. Let's take a look at this bottom lane real quickly. 30-1 Timbersaw, you have a 21-1 Necrophos. So it's definitely an advantage for Timbersaw, but Necro holding his own. But yeah, is this surprising that maybe Timbersaw has this much of a lead?
Especially not with the skill build Timber went. He doesn't even have a point in Q yet. It's just reactive and chains. So if Necro ever tries to pressure him, he just chains out. And now he's going to be getting gone on though.
Yeah, this reactive armor is going to be enough. Once those Fury Stripes are adding up, he will miss the Earthshock, actually.
Ooh, the juke.
The jukes are real. He cuts on through again. He doesn't have the Whirling Death, though, so.
Timber wants 6. He wants to find a creep.
Oh, you're right.
There's nothing for him to die there. Yeah, he could have had a huge turn.
Or he just wants to buy the time for Slaughter to come in, but now Slaughter actually pretty vulnerable himself, so kind of split fights going out right. Timbersaw, one more creep will do it. He's going to dodge a Sunstrike. He's not going to get it, though, just yet. And now 3-3, he's in a bad spot. He's trying to run away from this. There's another Timber chain in. There's the Crush landing. One auto attack. Necro, yes, will go down. And Timbersaw actually going to juke through the trees, be fine. Pablo running away. Karate Kid's like, damn it, just come hug me, please. That's all I want to do is to give a hug right here. Chakram is finally going to be coming out. He kind of zones him a little bit, but Karate Kid will be fine himself. So that was a fun fight here at the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is why mid-Ursas that want to roam like this should probably pick up an Orb of Venom. If he had it in that fight, he gets 1 kill, if not both of those, and doesn't feel that frustration of just getting ran around by people with a little more mobility than him.
That had to be pretty frustrating. Okay, he just wants to give you a lovable hug, but stay away from that crazy bear, and you'll be successful. So yeah, beautiful kite on the part of Horde, and ultimately actually escaping right there. They pop this shrine and get back into their lane. So yeah, as you're talking about though, Timbersaw doesn't have that Whirling Death even. He's just purely going for standing his ground in the lane and getting those last hits. So yeah, understandable that he is leading that. Ursa definitely winning the middle matchup, going back to that, but of course with that distraction at the bottom lane has allowed Excalibur to kind of climb back in a bit. He's now 23-10 here.
He needed this extra time. Going on top, though.
Yeah, Lifestealer. He might die right here. He sure is going to die. Kinetic Field not going to save him, nor the Rage, for that matter. So, getting a little too comfortable. He doesn't have something like a Wisp to heal him on up, of course. So,
Yeah, and that bottom lane, though, that we saw that fight go so well is just the echoing repercussions of this aggro tri-lane. Wisp couldn't leave top, even when there was only 2 people there at that point, because of the situation he's already been put in. And it kind of turned into one of these spots where if he had been able to be bottom or be mid and have the freedom to roam around, if Horde had made more traditional lanes, this game could be the opposite direction, with Wisp impacting this a lot more heavily.
Glimpses ready just in case. This is definitely a kill on Ursa right there, though. Yeah, he was diving the Invoker. Look at everyone comes in, other than, of course, the Lifestealer, but still, 4 of the 5 heroes coming on in and getting the turn kill onto Ursa. So you dive that long, you're definitely going to get the support. So Horde doing a good job of supporting their Invoker mid, and he'll continue to farm it up now. So this Ursa, he's slowing down a bit, especially with that death now. I mean, he still is actually tops in the game at 3,000 net worth, but definitely hurting his cause. It looks like he is trying to go right into that Blink Dagger, by the way. It's pretty typical.
And that's what I would expect. Mid Ursas generally don't go something like a Vlad's. They tend to just throw the blinks so they can make some early aggressive plays around the map and really try to impact the game. This Timber, though.
Yeah, I mean, the reactive armor level 4, it's like you can't chip him down. Now, as I say this, that's a burst damage coming out with the scythe, but it's still not enough for the kill. And the reactive armor, again, continuing to do work. He has those 20 charges. Look at that regen. And he's just walking away. I mean, they can't kill him, and he's just going to pour it out, and he just wasted all that time, as well as getting the kill. And there's a Shrine use.
Yeah, really, really difficult to bring him down at this point. And once this hood is picked up so that the Necro and the Jug spin are not nearly as terrifying, his only threat left on the map is really Ursa. So as long as he can dodge getting caught by Ursa with ult and a full overpower, he should be totally fine in this game.
Timbersaw, by the way, they're going to go for a kill and a Juggernaut right here. I guess not a kill, but just do a lot
Jug
of damage.
did
to
hit
him. 6. That he did, and he has an Omni Slash. He's going to choose Blade Fury as a result. He does have the Mango for the mana burst, and actually going to pop it right there, going for the Omni Slash, bounce to a couple of targets. Still, they do get the kill. In the end, on the turn kills, the double kill on a Juggernaut and Sand King. Not only does he live, but the turn kill is real. Oh my god, that's got to be so frustrating.
And everything went right for the Jug there. He got all 3 Omni Slash bounces on the Timber and still couldn't get through that armor.
And then down goes Wisp in the middle lane meanwhile. Like, once again, maybe trying to make an aggressive play, but he gets the supporting cast. 8-3 start now in this favor. You know, part of me was kind of, I almost meant to bring it up earlier, but why they didn't maybe pick the Centaur instead of the Timbersaw, especially if they knew that they're going to get the Timbersaw for an off lane? What caused the decision to go Timbersaw? I think we're kind of seeing it here.
Yeah, a lot of the damage here is physical, and to be honest, Timber's still just a strong pick. If you can give him a lane where he gets some early levels and an item or two, he becomes such a threat in this game. And if they knew they were going to go with the Invoker last pick or something really control heavy in the mid lane, Timber is just a great addition because he puts out so much damage if you have that extra stun, which you have in spades with Invoker.
Oh, well, they definitely want to kill this raid boss now. Will it be successful this time around? I mean, this is 4 heroes collapsing for this kill. No TP support just yet. He's still running. Sunstrike going to be coming over some turn kills. They get 1 on a Wisp, but Ursa, he needs to be careful not to be turned. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Timbersaw with that level 4 reactive armor. I mean, he has a Hood of Defiance now with the poor man shield on top of that. 4 heroes. They got the jump, too. It's not like they were running the whole time. They literally were on top of him, and they still couldn't kill him.
Yeah, and the Ursa, if you look at his skill build, went the build to kill him. He didn't go extra points on Earthshock, which you'd normally see against a pressurable mid laner like Invoker.
This Necro's dead as well. That's that combo. Of course, level 6 Disruptor. He's going to get that Static Storm on top of the kinetic field with the Glimpse back, and there's nothing you could do with Necro at that point. So it's proven to be a disaster all of a sudden for Slice and Dice. I mean, early on, the early game was looking decent. Ursa getting that first blood kill and everything, but the Timbersaw, of course, has kind of changed that a bit, and now the movement's kind of kicked in. Again, like I said, the level 6 Disruptor. You have Lifestealer, by the way. We can't forget about him. He has the armlet well in the works here. And he's third on his team. I mean, Invoker and Timbersaw are both actually doing better than him with farm.
Yeah. And that's fine at this point. Like, at this point, the problem is Ursa doesn't have any pressure anymore. He lost his fear around the map. You know, Invoker was so scared of him. Excalibur had to play so far back for the first few levels and got caught by him.
Yeah.
But at this point, how do you get a kill if you're Dire? It has to involve the Omni Slash and the Reapers on one target without losing other people.
Well played right there as he glimpses back Sand King as Disruptor's on the run. Aki though, he's still in a lot of trouble. A 4-man gank. He's not Timbersaw. Not going to tank through that, so did that relocate? Oh yeah, he's not going to tether with him, is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's only moving like 2 feet.
Okay, he was right there.
It was just a relocate for position to make sure they got the kill.
But yeah, it's going to earlier with the Necro pick as well. Again, you think about that top lane where the 4 heroes out there that were there. Now the one hero that they needed for that kill was Necro with that scythe as we're getting at. So yeah, unfortunately he hasn't been able to use a scythe for a kill just yet. He does get an early Veil of Discord though, to try to amp that magic damage presence that he himself brings.
And this plan would be great if the Sand King had anything, but sitting at 900 gold and only level 5, 12 minutes into this game, the Epicenter's not even online yet to couple with it. I understand they just need the Veil to even have a shot at killing Timber, but it's looking bleak.
So much for that fear again. When the Ursa's the one that has to run, you know things aren't good. Wisp, by the way, picked off elsewhere. But Karate Kid trying to make some ninja-like moves right here, and he actually does. Well played, grows the pace. Oh, but the Sunstrike's going to connect. Excalibur a little bit better as far as that run attempt by Karate Kid. So 12-4 lead.
I'd like to point out Excalibur was down like 12 CS very early on and got killed and is now topping net worth by like 800.
Yeah. These Sunstrikes obviously coming through. What is his score? 4-1 and 2. So obviously has been very involved now. And the Hanamitis, of course, picked up. The bots just around the corner as well. So top tower push going to be successful. You look at Timbersaw's build too, by the way. Again, he went that early Hooded Defiance, mitigating so much damage. It looks like the Bloodstone also going to be coming out here. As I think I hear, yeah, I was going to say, I hear relocate. Oh boy. That was
they can kill him. They can finally kill him.
Can they though? It's Timbersaw.
No,
they cannot. He's like, see ya. All right, well, they tried to make a play right there, obviously. Bites Wisp in the ass, and now Gork, he's going to go for the escape, has that armlet, he goes back in, the 2-man crush, actually, the Blade Fury actually prevents the stun onto him, of course. Now Gork on the run, the meatball comes down, the Reaper decides to guarantee that kill, and add on to that duration. They also take on Invoker, the Omni Slash cutting him down, but guess who's back? It's Timbersaw! Whirling Death comes out with the Shock Rip. There's the 2 quick kills, and now Jiang here on that Juggernaut, realizing he's in a dire spot. Jafar gonna try to heal him on up, if anything. Go for a turn, as now Wisp is back, but that Chakram still doing plenty of damage. Gets that tear through onto the Wisp, but the chase is on with the Ghost Round slow. Timbersaw the Timber Chain cannot get it off. The crit comes out. Finally, the raid boss has been defeated for Slice and Dice.
All in all, a very bloody fight, but Slice and Dice getting some key shutdowns there. They really, really needed that gold. 1,500 net worth going back in their favor. And it went on fairly good targets. The Necro picked up one of the huge kills there, and then the Jug getting the raid boss Timber. So what they needed to give themselves a lifeline in this game.
Disruptor not being there, obviously, is a little bit of a issue, unfortunately, too, for the Horde. He would have been pretty beneficial there, no doubt. But again, he was busy pushing out the bottom lane. I mean, there's nowhere to TP for him, of course, up at the top side. That just simply kind of broke out maybe when they least expected it. Granted, they were pushing a tier 2 tower, to be fair, but I mean, at the same time, he is 9.5. He did get some decent farm down here. He has his, his Arcane Boots, of course, finished with 1,000 gold saved up. So, but definitely at least again a positive for Slice and Dice, something they can be satisfied about. The Basher being worked on by Ursa right here, which kind of will help him be maybe a little bit more threatening once again. But look at Lifestealer. I feel like Ursa's the one that should be doing this. Lifestealer's gonna solo Roshan.
This is one of those cool things you can do with illusions. If you don't have auto attack set on in your settings, you just stop them right next to Roshan. If they never hit Rosh, they stay up. So easy way to tank off a lot of the Rosh, but it is now scouted.
It is, but do you actually try to stop this? It's now the question. As Sunstrike gonna help guarantee the kill. And there's the Aegis, which will be picked up for Excalibur, actually. So I thought Lifestealer may have been the option, but
yeah, I don't think Lifestealer is really a core part of your gameplay right now. You're getting so much work out of your Timbersaw, and Excalibur is still the one at risk of dying most often. So wanting to secure it on him, the other option would have been throwing it on Timber and just letting Timber run in and essentially 1v5. But I think it's acceptable here. And once Excalibur picks up this Ags, they kind of have all the tools they need to look to, at the very least, sweep the outer T2s with this Aegis. So I would expect we're going to see pressure come in on mid and especially bot lane with the T1 still standing.
Middle lane, Ursa They want to jump in. The ping's coming out, but he's going to fall back just before. He wants to kill this range creep, and he actually will in the end. But yeah, it's a little too far for them to be
Dire's middle
jumping.
tower is under attack.
Slaughter ready to go. Unable to get the chance, though. Bottom tower, Juggernaut will push this in. We'll see if we have any kind of reaction from the Horde.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Trying to
under
defend
attack.
it. Back to the middle lane. No, Ursa is going to actually blink away. He'll be fine. But yeah, down here,
Radiant structures
see the
are
scan coming out
fortified.
as well from the Radiant, actually. But here comes some TPs now. Disruptor.
Dire's middle tower
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't finish that TP. That would just be suicide.
Trying to
so.
scare them, yeah. Not going to happen. So that AK TP will be on cooldown now, but they're pushing a secondary tower. All 5 of them here. And I mentioned now Disruptor, he is actually here ready to fight. Actually, he's almost level 10 even. So get that, I assume the cast range talent. 60 gold per minute just seems so underwhelming.
Yeah, it really is.
Talent.
GPM talents and XP talents are pretty much notably the worst in the game.
Oh, the wraparound with the smoke. Running into each other. Zhang, he's going to be seen first. The sentry's put down. It's immediate.
Like Steelers
play
inside,
period.
though. They're going to want to go in on this.
Yeah, they are. The Sunstrike on top. That's a kill. There we go. Boom, shakalaka. Down goes Juggernaut. Reaper side, though. Slaughter going to be turn killed. So 1 for 1 so far in the back of the shotgun. Look at the kite again. And Urza. He's just stuck in his trap right there. Running around in circles. Lifestealer trying to run him down for the guaranteed kill. Excalibur trying to help. Nice. Relocate out, though.
It was
Actually
actually the
survived.
backswing of the relocate, too. He tried to save the Juggernaut in the beginning with that.
Okay.
And so he'd relocated back out of the fight, so Jug could have potentially lived. But great use on the backswing of that ulti there.
So, I mean, it's still a win for the Horde, but definitely could have been a lot worse with the Ursa going down as well, obviously.
Hmm.
So well played there for the reaction
Radiant's
and
middle tower is
surviving.
under attack.
Necro, how has he been progressing? He looks like he gets the point booster, and now the Force Staff is going to be next. So he's setting up for the eventual Ags with the stats, but feels like the Force
Yeah.
Staff is pretty necessary.
Eggs is very nice on Necro, but it's one of those things that it doesn't really have a ton of value to get super early on. The cooldown reductions goes from basically 100 to 55 seconds at level 1 with Eggs, which, while a big reduction, doesn't really mean you can use it twice in a fight. Whereas once you're level 16 and pick up an Eggs, it goes from 70 to 25.
Yeah.
That's more reasonable that I'm going to use it on our first pickoff, and then when we're chasing someone down at the very end of the fight, I can use it on Timber. So yeah, no real hurry for him to grab that. I imagine we're going to see the Force Staff come out. Yeah, that's done now. Looks like he is going to go the Ags now, which will line up fairly closely by the time he gets level 3 ult, I would imagine.
I don't know, what do you think? Because there's a lot of fighting going on. He kind of was the offlane in a sense. The idea of something like a mech and how valuable that could have been this game. I know they have the heals coming out from him as well as the heal ward, I guess, but the burst heal seems like it could have been pretty useful here.
Yeah, I would have agreed with you too. I think it definitely could have been.
Oh, middle or bottom lane, excuse me. Wisp is going to be picked up. He's trying to help save her, so that ain't going to work though. Static Storm helping to lock them down. Goes down right there. Jafar, deafening blast will slow him down. He puts the Reaper Scythe down. He gets a turn kill on a Lifestealer at least, but obviously not going to really be the best in the big picture. A 4-for-1 exchange, double kill for 3-3 on that Timber side, who, by the way, has a Bloodstone now with 16 charges.
Flew it out right before that fight. Absolutely huge for him. These Bloodstone charges early on are so beneficial. Bloodstone's kind of fallen out of favor on a lot of heroes because it's one of those items that if you die once or twice shortly after you get it, it's not a very good value.
Yeah.
But when you get these couple kills like this, you got donated 4 charges instantly on this Bloodstone. He's in such great shape.
Talk about how already difficult, or seen even how difficult he's been to kill this game. Now you got that Bloodstone. Good luck. 7-1-5. Bottom tower easily pushed in. And the racks, they're not going to go for that. They're happy with the tier 3. And of course, again, the shrines now vulnerable with that. Ursa does have the Skull Basher, so the idea that maybe he's a little more threatening is there. He's going to be working on a BKB next, which definitely will be powerful this game, but still a ways away before able to have that. And yeah, the other thing about the Ursa Wisp combo, I mean, it's nice that they're able to relocate out defensively. We've seen a couple times, but I feel like what makes that combo so scary is, again, that aggressive early game. The relocate's aggressive, getting kills, and not being able to do that has kind of really made this draft not that strong anymore.
Ursa's never a hero you want to be playing on the back foot, and neither is Sand King overall, unless you're still fairly close, because both of those want to go all in. They want to blink on you, throw all their buttons out, and like shotgun damage into you and try to win the fight off that.
Yeah.
But when you're this far behind and have to look for picks and mistakes, it's hard.
That jump there. The Static Storm actually catches Necro with the kinetic field. He cannot get out either. That's a double kill. Big epicenter actually coming out, but honestly, it's just too little too late. In fact, it's also going to cost him his life as he gets glimpsed back in. The pipe used, by the way, also, oh, that's the Hood of Defiance, excuse me. But anyway, still mitigating plenty of damage. And now the tower going to be pushed in on top of that middle lane. Of course, the bottom is already exposed, but they might as well get another tier 3 here. There's no buying back. They have all the time in the world here, well, about 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, it should be a double melee rack.
And this, I mean, the Horde, they're on the verge now. Again, they're already up 1-0. This would be the series victory and send them to the finals over Slice and
Excalibur
Dice.
knew it was up. He just let that range rack sit there and ran right to the melee.
Yeah.
Good job, Excalibur. Way to listen.
I think the GGs
But yeah.
could be coming out here soon here for Slice and Dice, unfortunately.
They really should. A fairly clean 2-0, honestly, from Horde.
Yeah.
They're looking very solid.
Well, and you know the pressure is kind of on them, right? Like just like it was for Complexity. I think more so for Complexity, definitely in the American qualifiers. But you got Horde. They're not like this prime team necessarily in the European region, but at the same time they are an up-and-coming team. You know, kind of the brother team to Alliance, of course. Ake, you know, a TI winner, obviously on the team. And the pressure you figure is definitely being felt. And I'm sure when they got knocked out in the round of 16 or round of 8, whatever it was, the previous Open qualifiers. That probably was a little bit of a sting for them, because maybe unexpected. But here, they're taking care of business, as he said. They are looking good, and on the verge now again. Going to the finals, at least, where they still need to win them. I'm like, oh my god, that is not what you want to relocate into. Well, maybe it is. His life stood my fault. Never mind. Chronic get locked down. I think that's the last-ditch effort right there from Slice and Dice.
Yeah, it's looking like it. It's odd to me as somebody who's watched Dota since early Dota 1 and been involved in it, that I'm seeing these dynasty players like Ake when he was with Alliance, and you see like the Eras and the Honeys from Fnatic kind of still trying to do stuff with various teams.
Yeah.
I want somebody in this to succeed because the Swedes were exceptionally good for a very long time. They absolutely had dominance. Fnatic, while not winning a lot of events, was a powerhouse team for a lot of years. And Alliance obviously had their spree where they just crushed that TI. So I want to see some of these players do well that I've seen be around for 6-7 years.
Are you saying Swedes are falling off lately?
I mean, yes.
Yeah,
CS:GO would agree as well.
You probably have a point there. Yeah. No, they definitely, at least they used to be a lot more dominant for sure. As you're bringing up. Well, 28-11 lead now for the Horde. Slice and Dice clearly doesn't want this to end.
Yeah.
But I mean, the comeback potential, it's just been out of really reach, it feels like, for a while now. I mean, Juggernaut is doing all right with farm. He has nearly 12,000 net worth. He actually has a Diffuso Blade coming along to go with that Manta style, which no doubt will be good. But they don't need good right now.
Kill somebody. It's not a good hero right now, and he's so far behind, and just the pace of the game is making it so he can't even get a great Omni Slash off. And we've seen this before. I've hammered it to death. A Jug that's behind struggles to be relevant, and that's why it's fallen out of that first pick favor a lot. Seems that way with a lot of carries that are being played here and there, like the Ursas and the Juggernauts.
Now the Timbersaw pick again, proving to be a very effective one at that for the Horde, and Ake in his draft definitely coming together nicely.
I'll be back
for the finals. All right, so I want to also make sure about the other series, by the way. It looks like the other series did wrap up as well, so the Bean Boys did win their second game, thus knocking out their opponents and going to the finals. So it looks like we are going to have that Horde versus Bean Boys finals matchup, pending a miracle comeback here from Slice and Dice. And I know a lot of people, including ourselves here, definitely looking forward to that one. That will again be a best of 3. The winner of that going to the regionals, of course, which actually start tomorrow morning. In fact, I personally am actually set to be casting some of the regional qualifiers here for the European region, and I'm going to be up bright and early, and I think it's right now it's scheduled to be 1 a.m. 1 a.m. on local time here, which is 10 a.m. Central European time, I believe. Tomorrow morning being a Friday morning after all, so going to be a lot of fun, though, here in the European region as Jiang, he gets picked off bottom lane. And he's staying dead this time around for a good old 50 seconds now. Yeah, we have already talked about this, that being brought up. Slice and Dice did defeat Horde in the previous qualifier, so like we're also talking about that this is kind of a revenge victory here for Horde. Again, that was a best of 1 to be fair, but I believe we actually had jumped into that game and saw the finish of it even. So, I mean, they look decent doing so. But this one really has been all the Horde. They have really dominated 2-0 now. Against, not official just yet, but again, on the verge. So they're going to jump in right here. Sunstrike, Necro, he dead for a good old minute. The Shrine Pop ain't going to save them. GG's being called. It will be official. Horde is moving on to the finals, and we have our Bean Boys versus Horde. Final matchup now here in the best of 3. So the dream matchup is real. I know so many people are looking forward to. And actually, before, obviously, as the Southeast Asian Finals were wrapping up, we were over on the Beyond the Summit 2 stream casting a little bit of the Bean Boys there in their, what was their round of 8 matchup. They actually ran a Broodmother again, and the Broodmother, I gotta say, the second time we've seen them run it, absolutely wrecked. Sexy Bambo there ran the Broodmother, and it looked very good doing so. I don't know how their semifinal match went. I know that they dominated really in the end, it looks like, as far as some quick victories, what they ran there. But that's going to be interesting to see if that maybe comes into play in that final matchup. But looks like my co-caster had to take a quick break right there. But we are going to be also taking another quick break right here as now we get set up for our final matchup, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, we got our final matchup now. Again, Horde versus Bean Boys. Quick setup here with the lobby. And then we'll be getting right into it. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I'm Breaky CPK, joined by my co-caster Z-Rock here. You're tuning in to the Kiev Major Open Qualifiers, European region coverage here on Beyond the Summit. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.